Back into the Auburn takeaway video, doing my intro for the second time, and hopefully this one goes over smoother. So, 5 quick takeaways. If you didn't watch this game, you probably shouldn't. I mean, it's one of those games where it's a defensive, slugfest and all those tropes that describe a slow-paced game with many defensive plays being made. But something that helped those defenses was the amount of turnovers. I am pulling the stats up right now, but as I recall, Bo Nix threw 3 picks, and I believe Florida had something around 4 fumbles. I want to say, give or take, somewhere in that area. So it's probably about 8 takeaways, I would imagine, give or take. And I guess you can call it defensive slugfest if you want to, but kind of sloppy. Oh, we have 4 turnovers because also Chandler Tut, I believe his name was, also fumbled. So I forgot about that. Yeah. So we have 4 fumbles, and it appears that Florida had 4 as well. Yeah. So 4-4, big on big. What a As an Auburn fan, I mean that was just a horrible game to watch. I mean it reminded me of the someone brought up the 2014 Mississippi State game. That's very reminiscent because that was a game where I feel like Auburn could have won at any given point. They just figured out how to just beat Auburn, and unfortunately, we never. You know what? It's unfair for me to compare 2014 Auburn to this Auburn. That Auburn had an offense that was far ahead of this one in every kind of significant category I can imagine. So I mean, it's unfair to say they could find Auburn a lot easier than this team. This team doesn't know what Auburn is. They don't even know what they are yet, and I don't know if they will anytime soon. So my takeaways: we can start with the quarterback play. Bo Nix was. Listen, I don't like attacking people at all, but that may have been in the worst 5 Auburn quarterback games I can think of. In my time, I've been watching since 2009. That's probably in the worst, the bottom 5, I would say. When you consider the talent, the defense he's playing with, Gus called a pretty good game in my opinion, from what I can see. Not perfect, not even I wouldn't even say good, but a decent enough game to win. Um, I think that's in the bottom 5. I would say. Bo didn't see the field at all. Even on half the field, Roy about half the field reads. He wasn't reading the defense, feeling pressure that wasn't there, feeling pressure and reacting to it the worst kind of way. Not when he would run, he wasn't running enough. I feel like by putting enough into getting the first down on multiple occasions. Couldn't hit down the field as I mean we're used to this at that point, and couldn't hit the intermediate or short, which was supposed to be his game coming into the season and in high school. He couldn't do that either. Footwork was sloppy again. Rush throws again. Made pretty much every direction or every type of play you didn't want somebody to run in any given situation. Red zone, throws a pick. In field goal range, runs out of field goal range. I mean, it just... Listen, the game ended almost 2 hours ago, and he's still trending on Twitter under the alias Bo Pitts. That is trending on Twitter, or at least his name is trending, but it's also trending under his name, Bo Pitts. Listen, this isn't me even talking to Bo Nix. This isn't even talking about the Nix family. This isn't talking about any of that. But I am hearing rumblings that there was some nepotism involved. Now, you take that how you want to. But I believe there is some booster play, some trustee play that factored into the quarterback competition. A couple of people hear me. A couple of people that have older family members that would be in the know, so to speak. Again, I'm not creating unsubstantiated rumors. I'm just saying that it could have happened at some point during the whole quarterback, competition. It make a lot of sense when you hear how far ahead one quarterback was ahead of the other for most of this entire year. And then when you see something like this where, listen, from what I'm told, it was from Gus himself. It was supposed to be neck and neck, 1A, 1B. If that's the case, and one quarterback is playing his god-awfulest, as one quarterback played, why wouldn't you put the other one in? If there's 1A, 1B, I don't care if he's cold. Him being cold is better than the other option being in the state that he was in. I mean, that was less than cold. That was what did they cryogenically freeze Harrison Ford in Star Wars? That's worse. That's worse than what we got. So in saying that, I just realized that I had the screen capture on this entire time. Anyway, I had the reaction where my reaction screen has me in the corner and I had OBS playing in there. I don't know why. Anyway, you can still hear what I was saying. The point was what I was saying, not what you were seeing. Now you actually see the hairline a little bit more, unfortunately. I look like a damn penis head, dude, but whatever. I look like one of the thumbs from Spy Kids. But hey, so I'm not gonna random Bo anymore. I mean, maybe Bo could come back. I thought Gus caught a decent enough game to get Bo involved. He gave him some of the quarterback runs early when Bo was missing easier throws. He gave him the RPOs, which they weren't there. Bo's speed wasn't good enough to make the RPOs work against Florida's defense. So I can't blame Bo for that. But Bo didn't have the. Bo was trying to throw but run at the same time on some of his RPOs. He was just too decisive to make them work. And his speed wasn't good enough to make most of them work as far as getting to the edge. I think Bo's speed is greatly exaggerated. I think he is kind of Aaron-esque, where his speed could fool you sometimes, but I don't believe he's actually fast. I think people need to make that distinction very quickly. Bo Nix is not fast. He's decisive, or he was decisive before this game. I felt like I don't even feel he was really decisive, but I feel like he can run if he chooses to do so, and the lane is open. But he's not fast. Let's just make that apparent. Second takeaway, defense. One of the best that we've had this decade. I believe it's actually the best we've had this decade. The front seven is very good. Quite a few times, linebackers got matched up against receivers, and we had no ability to make that happen. But I feel like those are in the minority. Maybe not so 70-30, but more like 55-45. But, I mean, you have top-end Florida speed against linebackers. Not many linebackers can make that work. Secondary played overall solid, I feel like. I mean, most of the plays that Trask had were against the linebackers and short, 10, 15 yard type of throws. I don't remember. I remember Ickmanogany had a kind of bad game. Well, not bad, I wouldn't say, but had a couple inconsistencies on a couple drives. But overall, I think he played good, relatively. McCurry had a couple of bad plays. I think overall, I'd give a 7 out of 10, maybe 6.5. I think linebackers 6.5, maybe 7. I'd probably get a little bit higher because, they did help shut the run down, but the run, Florida didn't even try to run, really, so it's not like they really had to. Florida, let's look at Florida's attempts, And then I also have to take a point because, linebackers were who gave up the Piron play that pretty much broke the game. I won't blame defense for breaking this game open. Don't get that confused. But the play that did break the game open was the touchdown. So, I have to factor that in. So Piron had an 88-yard play, 88-yard touchdown. He had 130 yards in total. So that would give let's call it 90. That means he had 13 carries for 40 yards the rest of the game, which is very good for someone that's supposed to come in with a chip on his shoulder. That's very good. You take away the 88-yard run they had as a team, again, we can say 90. They would have 42 for the rest of the game, 44 if you made it what it was. So 44 on 32 carries is very, very good. Unfortunately, there was one that went for 88 yards as it did, but overall, they played fantastic defense. Quite a few tackles for loss against Trask, which kind of brought the YPC down, I believe. But they just played. They played great. The defensive line, 11 out of 10. They played phenomenal. Linebackers did do good in run coverage when they had to. Other than that one play where they didn't. So moving on from that, let's look at the sacks. Let's look at the sacks because I didn't get a chance to look at that. Let's see. So 7 TFLs, 4 sacks. It's very good. Only 2 quarterbacks hurry, which is very interesting. I'm not sure how that stat works out, but only 2 QB hurries. I thought they played a pretty good defense, all things considered, especially for a team that was getting the ball out very quickly. Number 3, very important one. So it seems like Gus's plan has been to just run whatever as far as the running game goes in the first half, and then hoping that Booby bails him out in the second half, which against A&M that kind of worked because of Schwartz. Shivers and Cam did okay. I don't believe they did much, but they did okay. They kept the chain. They helped some drives to extend a little bit farther. But today, that was a horrible plan. Booby did not. He wasn't seeing the field very well today. I felt like, at least in the first half. And I don't believe Cam or Shivers got enough touches to help them out or help that alleviate that out. I think that Bo ran a couple of keepers, and I think a couple worked, a couple didn't, but he's kind of split between that. I think there should have been more Joey formations in the first half that could have helped open up the run game a little bit more, especially in the pass game, as it ended up being for the entire game, never came on. We could at least ran it out and tried to see how that works with our best running option, the quarterback, but we didn't do that either. Unfortunately, I don't have much else to say. I thought that Booby played a good second half. He seems to just be able to turn it on in the fourth quarter, but he didn't play the best first half or even a good one. And I think that Gus should have saw that and adjusted, but he did not. So that's a point off for Gus, obviously. Number 4, team could still make a run, but I think a lot of changes have to be made. The right side of the offensive line has been largely not good over the past couple of years. And the ones that we reminisce the most about, the horrible Tennessee game, the bad Mississippi State game, speaking on to last year, some of the worst moments from this year, like the Tulane game. A lot of those came out in droves today. Just Driscoll was bad. Horton wasn't very good. He missed a couple blocks. Honestly, the whole offensive line, other than Tega, should be looked kind of frowned upon. They just weren't very good. So I think Driscoll should maybe be, I don't know. They should like pat him on the back real time, one good time, be like, hey man, you gotta, come on man, just something different. Just go with something different. Try a little bit harder. I don't know what you gotta do, but something different. I'll give them this though. Communication was probably impossible as far as that crowd went. So, but I mean, if you're a senior Latin group, you can't communicate at that point. You played in Death Valley, you played in Tuscaloosa, you played in Athens, night games, and you can communicate at that point in the day game in the Swamp. What's your hope as far as the future goes? Like the other four, you got to figure that out, man. I don't know about Tega. I thought Tega played a pretty good game. I don't even watch Tega. I just believe that Tega plays a good game regardless. I don't even look at him. I know Tega is doing his thing. I guess a couple more changes. Our receivers need to be used more in space, or not in space, but in short to intermediate routes. I thought we were doing that more often in the Mississippi State game. For some reason, we didn't do it today, which is troubling. But we did give Bo a couple of outs and ends that he didn't hit, so I don't think it would have helped if we did play him more often. But we need to see Schwartz in a couple more ideal situations, such as some bubble sweeps, tosses, crossers, slants to Schwartz. That would have been nice. I don't know if Bo could have hit it, but it would have been nice. And Shriver should have got some more, just a couple of sweeps. I think you should run at least one Shriver sweep every single game. I just don't see why you wouldn't. Couple of Shankers, wheel routes, that would have been nice. We got to do Luke Deal back. We didn't use him at all, which is interesting. Receivers should get used more. No brainer, I suppose. DJ Williams got no touches. Why? I don't know. New quarterback. My number four. The rest of my number four and my number fifth takeaway is just that we need this bye week. If Gus wants to win a championship or even compete for one, you got to give Joey like an actual chance to start. I mean, at this point, it's I just don't know why he wouldn't. Bo has what, one quarter in the Mississippi State game, one quarter against Oregon game, one quarter against Oregon, and the Mississippi State game. To his credit, that's it. The rest of the season, he's been. I mean, why wouldn't you start Joey at this point? I don't know what. What would you upset? The passing game, the one good game it had, the running game. I mean, you would want it to improve at this point, I imagine. So I mean, I don't know what Bo has done as far as passing that Joey couldn't do. Like, he's not making like tough passes. He's the best plays he's making are usually a result of the receiver is making adjustment to the ball. Like, there's not any like, wow, we can finally see where this 5-star rating came from. We're not seeing that. So I don't understand why you wouldn't start Joey. But that's just my thoughts on it. I'm just trying to cut this short before I start rambling for 20 minutes. Hope you enjoyed. Peace.